You are immortal. So, when I say that, I'm not talking about the body. I'm not talking about your ego or identity. I'm not talking about your mind. What I'm talking about can probably be better described in an analogy. So, it's not a perfect analogy, but I think it gets the point across. When we look at a TV that is showing a movie, there is form appearing on the screen. Now, the pixels that make up the TV screen, they can manifest form in a sense. But they transcend the form itself. And what I mean by this is, let's say the TV pixels, they depict the story of a man or a story of a woman. It doesn't matter. The story of a person. And in this movie, it goes through his life from the perspective from the point of when he was born to when he grows up to being a young person, and until they grow old, and then at the end of the movie there's a funeral for this person. Now, even though the pixels, you could say that the pixels were the person. But when the person grows old and dies, it doesn't affect the pixels. This analogy falls apart when we acknowledge that pixels and TV screens eventually burn out. They do appear to have some sort of a lifespan. But relative to the person who is being depicted with the pixels, it can almost seem like the pixels are immortal relative to the person who's living. So the analogy here is that the true identity of the person is the pixels, and the form is just a manifestation, an illusion that the pixels create. And the pixels in our analogous to our situation, it doesn't have a lifespan, because what I'm talking about is really the unspeakable essence of everything. And you could call this different labels, but the labels will never be able to grasp this unspeakable essence, because it will always transcend anything that appears, including labels, because it is the substrate of everything. We could call it things like suchness. We could call it things like being. We could call it isness. There is a primordial substance, so to speak, that is the source of everything, all form. It's kind of like the ocean is analogous to this substance, so to speak. And then all the form is sort of like the waves. The waves are no other than the ocean. But the waves are temporary, but the ocean, relative to the waves, transcend that temporal existence. So when a wave appears, it's still the ocean. It's the ocean appearing as a wave. And it's a form appearing. It's a formlessness appearing as a form. And when we look at ourselves through the lens of this analogy, our form, as along with all other forms, are forms of this essential being or suchness. Some people might call it consciousness. Some people might call it God. Some people might call it absolute truth. But these are all labels, and it's not a thing. So when we conceptualize it, that's a trap. But these words are pointing, their fingers pointing at the moon, and the moon is the unspeakable substrate of all form. So throughout your entire life, you are that essence. And that form which appears is no other than that essence too. But the form identifies with form. And because of that, all it can see is more form. So when that form comes to end, that's what we normally call death. But just like how a wave can sink back into the ocean, or it can lose its form, it never loses itself, its higher self, its higher identity as the ocean. And this isn't just a mental trick here where it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm made from the universe, so when I die, I'll just go back into the universe. No, the I that is thinking that it will go back into the universe is just a temporary, illusory form. It never was separate. The wave was never separate from the ocean. So, death is an identity issue. And when I talk about immortality, it's not the idea of the form existing forever. But it's a peace that we can find when we are able to let go of our identity with form. Then there is no place to go when we die, because there's no self to go anywhere. The self is just a form of what is here and will always be here. Hopefully that helps somebody. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. If there's anything you want to say, then please comment down below. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. And if you'd like to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope they have a great rest of your day.